What is going on, everybody? Welcome to podcast episode 23. Going to be joined today by Michael Lombard. Let's get right into it. What's going on, bro?
What's up, family? How we doing?
Good, man. I couldn't hear the intro music. I'm happy I can hear you at least, so we're good.
I heard the intro music. It was getting me fired up, like I was about to walk into a hip hop concert.
Yeah, man, we went with some high energy intro music. I realized pretty early on that I had to be careful with the copyright stuff. I put my first video up on YouTube, and they're like, "Yeah, we're not having that." I was like, "It's kind of fair." It's pretty limited in the music selection there, but we're good.
Hey, man, yeah, you can't play with that type of fire. I know it starts to mask it. It's annoying.
Yeah, but let's get into it, bro. How did you get into logistics? I've seen you around. I know the name. I know the face. At this point, I probably know what you look like without a shirt on, man. But what did you do, man? How did you get into logistics?
Yeah, man, it's a crazy story. It's one of the questions I always like ask people, especially the drivers who come on my show, because like it's not that I got into the freight world by accident. Essentially, I did grow up with it. So my grandfather, he was a driver, drove for 30 plus years. And that's
your
like
grandfather.
My name. Yeah, my grandfather.
Oh,
and
yeah.
so
you guys been in trucking.
Yeah, and he did it because his father did it. Essentially the story, like my name is Lombard Trucking. That's what I've been known as on the internet since 2010. But the original Lombard was a company that started by my family when they came to the United States, early 20th century. And my grandfather's grandfather and his brother, Nicky and John Lombard, they used to peddle ice out of a horse and carriage up in Connecticut. And they eventually incorporated as a trucking company in 1923. And they were a motor carrier from 1923 to 1984. They were once the largest motor carrier in the Northeast. They had terminals from Baltimore to Maine. My grandfather was one of the owners of the company and was himself a driver. So I grew up with like my grandfather's stories and knowing all about Lombard and knowing like former employees, people worked at the terminal. It's kind of what I grew up with. Now, how I got into it, essentially, now my dad, he owns like a small machine shop in Connecticut and he's got a few trucks, but I kind of went my route into freight, took a detour where essentially I graduated high school. I served in the Marines for 4 years and I got out. And when I got out, I went to school because I was able to use the GI Bill. I got a business degree at school. I graduated school. I ended up working in sales for 2 years. And at that point, it was kind of
selling for those 2 years.
Funny you ask. I say it's sales to like keep the conversation going because this is you can make a whole podcast about this entire job, but I worked at Enterprise Rent-A-Car for 2 years. Technically transportation, really,
technically sales and transportation, if you want to put it down that way.
Yeah. And I mean, working for the Green Machine, it's like a different beast, but you're selling. I mean, you got to sell like the coverage and insurance stuff with them. I mean, I learned a lot. I definitely learned a lot about like marketing.
Yeah, that's the art of the upsell because the customer already came in. They need a car. I mean, you already made the initial sale. Now it's just the art of the upsell at that point.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what you're doing. And like, it's a tough job because half of your customers just got in a car accident. The other half are like drug dealers. So it's like, but some people are retail, they're travelers, like tourists, they need the insurance. So
yeah, I was going to say, bro, you just skipped over all of tourism in that conversation.
Yeah. Well, it's if you're at an airport, yeah, it's all tourism. But if you're in West Haven or New Haven, Connecticut, they got hit, but they're probably breaking the law. And it's like,
yeah, I mean, you're close to some international borders, you're close to some waterways. I mean, you got some logistics of its own going on over there, I can assume.
Yeah, there's a lot going on there. I do remember we had this one company we work with because this is Enterprise. I'm not gonna lie, I did learn a little bit about marketing. You had to go out and you had to keep in touch with like the body shops in the area, so they do send you customers, or else they'll just send them to hurt.
Yeah. Like somebody who just crashed their car, they'll just toss you the numbers. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so like being prevalent, like building relationships with car dealerships, all that was important. But we did have this customer. We used to. I don't know what these guys did, but they would we would pick them up. They essentially drove a truck, like a semi. They dropped it off in West Haven, Connecticut. and I would go pick them up. They would take the rental car, and then they drive the rental back to Canada, where they then take another truck that was going somewhere else in the US. And it was like, man, this seems pretty interesting. But from enterprise, I jumped into like the logistics wheelhouse. I ended up getting a job for a wholesaler in a store and warehouse in Connecticut, which is a big plumbing and heating wholesaler. And that was my first like real time like interaction with like supply chain stuff. I dealt with like our central distribution. So I did, you know, I had the trucks come in, come out. If we had
Were you moving a lot of pipes? Just because, like, side note, I used to be like a drain layer, so I was going to a lot of like plumbing supply stores.
Yeah. So our warehouse had we had a rack truck and a box truck, and I've driven both of those, but I had to call a pipe truck often. I also used to have to get propane tanks that came on like a flatbed. They would come from Canada. And so this is my first time actually like dealing with like time
like
diving
shipping, receiving, this kind of shit.
Receiving. And I did a lot of inventory control, drove a lot of forklifts, you know, was, you know, forklift certified, not to brag. I know the ladies watching probably.
So the funniest part about that forklift thing is I was walking to like the public swimming pool today, and I was trying to explain to my girlfriend that there's like a meme about being forklift certified, you know, like there's a meme, but like people out here don't know about that. And there was a dude with a forklift driving down. Like I live in a village, dude, like in the middle of nowhere. And this dude on a forklift was moving like a full pallet of beer just down the road. And I was trying to be like, that guy's forklift certified, bro.
Elite. That's elite clout right there.
Yeah. He was like some kid, bro. He was like probably like 15 years old, dude, driving that fucking forklift.
Dude, I love it. Working in the warehouse was all right. I mean, it did well. I did well, and kind of what drove me out of there is kind of what happened in my life. I was offered a promotion to run a store in a warehouse in North Jersey, and I was offered the job. I would have had to move 5 weeks before my wedding, and I know what the job paid to be the ops manager of one of these places. I knew what the job paid. I knew what my experience was. I mean, I lobbied for what the job should have been paid. I was given an offer on what the pay was. I disagree with it. I negotiated salary. It didn't end up going my way. So I had to turn it down. And then at that point, I got married. Well, you know, when on our honeymoon, my wife and I, we come back, and I'm kind of disgruntled because essentially it's not that I cannibalized myself, but I kind of just delayed sort of professional advancing, and living in Connecticut.
Yeah, but at the same time, man, if they weren't going to pay you what they should, I mean, they could kind of fuck off too or anything.
Exactly. I mean, it's just like it became no sweat on my shoulders. Like if they're not going to pay me then what am I hanging on to? And I was kind of, you know, hitting this little midlife crisis. I was 29, you know, I'm 2 months from turning 30. And, you know, my wife, she's never lived outside of Connecticut. And so we're having a conversation one day, and, you know, there've always been like thoughts in our mind, like where to move. And she had been to Central Texas once, and she was like, let's go to Austin. Let's just do it. And I was like, all right, I'm in. And then I was like, okay, if I move to Austin, then what am I going to do? And then I remember like talking with truck drivers all the time at the warehouse, LTL guys, the guys who drove the pipe truck, those guys. And I was like,
a bunch of
I started talking to them, and I was like, and I started asking them about like getting your CDL. And at the start of 2020, like when I knew we were moving, because we made the decision to move in October, and then I started stacking money. And essentially by January, I was just like, that's it. When we move, I'm going to get my CDL like that. Like that's going to be it. I'm going to make the shift. I've been working in this warehouse for 3 years. I know that, but let's go over the road. Like, and I just had it in me. Like, let's do it. I've been Lombard trucking on the internet, on Twitter since 2010. Let's make it a reality. And so
what year did you start? What year you sat behind the wheel, man?
In 2020. So, I mean, I started, you know, like a lot of people got into
the good part, like where you were around for all the good shit. Like you made your fortune 2020, 2021. Like,
I wish I was a lowly company driver when I was driving in 2020. That's the thing. Like my story of the 3 years being over the road is like very different from other people, because like I I had full intentions of being a company driver for a good amount of time. I didn't like, I wasn't really, I didn't
Hey,
know
you
the
weren't
timeline.
itching to deal with the owner operator bullshit and like having to. That's a lot of responsibility to do that.
It's a lot to get into. And I had done research. I had listened to podcasts like Hauling Assets, and I was like, and I was always learning about it and, talking to people about it. And I just knew, I was just like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I was like, I should save up for a little while longer, learn more, and then go into it with a lot of money. The reason why I ended up getting my own truck when I did is because, similar to a good friend and a friend of the show, his name's Ilya. He's a millennial trucker on Twitter. That's his name. He owns ICV Express. He has a business partner, my best friend from high school, who followed me to Texas. He's got a good job working. He works for this real estate hedge fund, and he's looking to invest in businesses. And he's like, if you had a truck right now, could you do this? And I was like, yeah. I was like, we just have to like get a budget sheet, figure out expenses.
I mean, yeah, it's like funny you say that, because I swear to God, like 80% of owner operators I've dealt with in my like carrier career, like skipped that step immediately. Like no budget sheet, no like idea about accounting, keeping track of stuff. Like it's funny you say that was your first step, because I feel like there's like so many owner operators on the road that couldn't tell you their monthly cost, that couldn't tell you the cost of running their equipment, which is like kind of wild to me if you ask me. But
yeah, and I knew from like that show, Hauling Assets, I forget the guy's name, but I mean, it talks about underwriting. Like you gotta know what it's going to cost. You gotta know what your monthly insurance cost is going to be. You gotta overestimate the fuel. And so we did that. We got together, and I had a good chunk of change that I was going to throw at it. He came off and funded it. We get the truck. We end up leasing on to a company I was a company driver for, so small carrier. They let me jump on the load boards for free. Let me use a dry van for at no cost in the rental. So we had a good setup. But this is April 2022.
yeah, right when the market's crashing, like immediately, like.
Yeah, and rates were still floating around $3-ish, but fuel had started to spike, and we underwrote the business with diesel being over $5 a gallon. Like we overshot everything. Like we did everything at like we
you used the most conservative possible numbers in the world according to the last 5 years of trucking.
Yeah,
and all of a sudden you get hit with like the most historically bad market that's ever existed ever in time, bro. Like,
it was a double, and that's what I love / hate about telling my story, because I only hate it in case anybody thinks that I'm like lying, but I did not want to own that truck to become a million. Like I didn't watch YouTube videos and say,
you didn't see people making 15 grand a week and say, I'm going to buy a truck. Like you just naturally fell into buying a truck. Like
I fell into it. And because like I have this feeling of wanting to restore honor to like my family's name. Like I'm big on family, big on tradition. And like, I have my family's company in Connecticut, Lombard, they were one of the best employers. This is, this is a Teamster. They were a union trucking company, but drivers stayed there for 30 years. And it's like, people love, and then that went away.
The operation, man, like shit was going how it should go. It was a good business, And I mean, that's your name. Your name was literally on the trucks. Like, I saw the picture. I remember you posted a picture of like way back then, like you're like the Lombard trucking truck, like old grainy photo from God knows when. Like I've seen that picture.
Yeah, and it's like when I see that, I'm like, dang, it's like if butterfly effect, Motor Carrier Act in 1980 doesn't go through, like I'm driving and I'm one of the guys in that, at that company still, and it's like, so that's part of the reason why I was just like I wanted to do this was like for that, like to honor my family, like try to do this, like try to run it back. And the idea would have been to cash flow, lease onto carriers, a carrier, hopefully be able to get my own authority and then work from there. And essentially, all of 2022 was about
you're just getting beat up, bro. Yeah, you were just, I mean, I was there. I was dispatching. I was a carrier in 2022 and 2023. I was there the day when it seemed like I walked in the office and rates were down 80% overnight. Like I was there, man. I was booking freight for all of that shit. Like I know exactly. And if you were doing dry van, I know exactly what you were going through, bro. Like,
and it was tough. It was stressful, but I can't lie. Because that was when because like when you're a company driver, you get one piece of the pie of the industry. You learn about, you learn strictly about trucking, dealing with shippers and receivers, working
Yeah,
with the
you learn
dispatcher.
about picking up freight and delivering freight and not much else. Like,
And yeah, not much else. But then when you get your truck, that's when the pie chart kind of opens up. And that's where I learned
that's when the
about,
floodgates open, bro. You gotta learn everything. You gotta learn the industry at that point. Like,
yeah, because you're talking to so many more people.
and
You're not
the biggest thing with the owner op thing is not only do you gotta learn the industry more, you gotta learn like how to run a business. That's something people miss. You're not just driving a truck anymore. You are running a business. You need to know accounting. You need to know costs. You need to know all of these business things. And I think a lot of owner ops just skip that part. They're like, "Oh, I'm the best at driving a truck. I pick up freight. I deliver freight." But like they fail on the business side. You're an owner operator. You are operating a business. Like that's and like the etiquette. A lot of truck drivers miss if they self dispatch, if they, you know, like they miss how to deal with people in a professional way as a business, as a carrier, right? Like they're just truck drivers. And this is not to talk bad about any truck drivers. It's just there's a lot of truck drivers that become owner ops and just miss, you know, a part of that responsibility as running a business. You know,
it's really one of the few like professions where like standard employees like I think trucking creates the most, some of the like probably like I don't, you'd have to run the numbers, this might not be true, but I feel like trucking does create the most entrepreneurs, but in that same respect, I think it creates more just as many like failed entrepreneurs too, because of how kind of unregulated, because of the it's a low barrier to entry to.
Yeah, there's no barrier to entry, bro. Get a CDL, learn how to drive a truck, and it's kind of it, man. Get a loan, borrow some money, buy a truck. Like, there's not much standing in the way of you entering this market. I mean, that's kind of one of the things I love about it, though, right? Because not a lot of people know about it. A lot of people look down on truck driving as a career. Nobody knows what freight brokers are. Nobody knows what dispatchers are. I mean, you don't go to high school and be, oh, I'm going to be a freight dispatcher in 2 years. Like, nobody thinks about these things, right? Like, we just buy our stuff at the store and it just appears there. Like, nobody ever thinks, like, how did it get here? Nobody knows what booking a load is. You ask a guy on the street, what's DAT? Nobody's going to know any of those things. So I think it's like the barrier to entry is very low. And like you said, for every success, there's probably a million failures in this industry.
Yeah, the survivability bias is pretty crazy. Like for one guy who succeeds, yeah, it's like how many else fail? Because you're right. I mean, and I look at guys like Adam Wingfield. He talks about this a lot. Like, yeah, like from that aspect of running a business, like, you know, there's a lot more into it than just driving. I think a lot of people do, you know, I think that they're kind of lured away because there was every single day I was an owner operator. Like I was like, dang, I wish I was still a company guy. And that's the reality. You're just like, dang, like I wish I didn't have to deal with this. Wish I didn't have to find where the next load was coming. Like, wish I didn't have to do this. Was it rewarding? Yes. Did I learn a lot? Is it why I'm here today? Absolutely. But there's so much more to it that is.
And I think honestly, the thing that, because I feel like I've seen, like I spent my whole career on the carrier side, building companies, being with the owners of the carriers, working next to them. And I think the biggest thing that I take for granted in my whole like freight journey is that you had to deal with that. Every owner operator had to deal with all of the things I had to deal with as a carrier in a truck on the road in the middle of nowhere without a bed to sleep in and no family around them. And I think that's the key recipe ingredient that people are missing, is that owner operators are living like the most insane lifestyle and dealing with all of these things on top of it, right?
Oh yeah, it's not like starting a business like where
like from your house,
a brick and mortar, or like, yeah, like I opened a restaurant where at least like, yeah, you know, or if you open a gym, like, you know, I know a couple,
yeah, like a physical location where you can anchor yourself to, bro. Like, I mean, you guys doing your dishes in the toilets of a Love's travel stop, man. I mean, that's a whole different life, like that people.
Oh, that's right. Oh yeah, that's where I would wash my air fryer. But I mean, dude, the lifestyle itself. I mean, there's a reason why a lot of people get into trucking. Like me, I know, like the lifestyle to me was one that I acclimated to very well, especially like, you know, tying in the fitness part of it. That's where I really buckled down on it. And the lifestyle, I mean, I got to see the lower 48 Canada. Like the lifestyle itself was one I could definitely do like as a career. And the door's not shut on me never driving again. But when you add there's a lot of people get into trucking because of that lifestyle. Like that, it is very attractive. The last American cowboy, that allure, it is one of the last like kind of bastions of freedom, despite regulations like speed limiters and the cameras and all that stuff. It is, there's nobody looking over your shoulder, so to speak. But then when you add on it being your business, I think it totally takes away some of the pleasure that I think why you love the job in the first place. Like once you make it your own and then that truck's yours and you got to find this, there's so much less you can enjoy.
Pure stress. But okay, I got 2 questions for you. So let's move into more current events. First question, I've noticed the Dyson vacuums behind you. Like, where are you in like a cleaning closet right now? Like, where are you right now?
Oh, dude, I know. I'm at the gym.
I just noticed the cleaning supplies next to you and shit. I'm like, where is this guy?
I know. I'm in the I'm in the back office of the gym. I'm currently the head coach at 2 Orange Theory Fitness studios in Austin, Texas. So I'm at this office. I had to put out some fires.
I wasn't trolling you with the Orange Theory title. I just thought it was funny, bro, because you're always in Orange Theory.
I do kind of. What's crazy is about Orange Theory though is like I definitely bleed orange. It's a great brand. It's been a huge impact in my fitness. And I get to tell members this a lot. I've been to Orange Theories like all over the Midwest and in the US while I was over the road. Like when I was on a reset, I had an eight. I have a membership where you had 8 classes a month. Sometimes it would be 4, depending on what I was doing. And I've been to, anytime I was on a reset, I would go to the nearest Orange Theory. So I've been to ones in Ohio, Indiana. Like I would go to get Orange Theory workouts when I was over the road.
OTR. Yeah, I had an OTR driver, bro, that just had a Planet Fitness, bro. Every time I couldn't find him a load, he's like, bro, I'm going to Planet Fitness. I'm gonna call me back in an hour. I'm like, all right, like fair.
That's another good spot. Any Planet Fit, if you are a driver, listen to this. You don't have a Planet Fitness Black Card, $24 a month. No, most of them have a spot to park. A lot are 24 hours, and they got showers.
Any location, man, showers, toilets, whatever, work out, man, get your health up. Also this from Jim. So I just met Jim. I mean, we've never actually talked yet, but he's like the sexy accountant of trucking. He's trying to make accounting like more fun. You can write off your showers apparently if you're a truck driver. So I mean, you can even need some accounting advice, bro. Jim's out there.
You can write off, I mean, damn near everything, food, all that stuff.
But all right, man, current events. Let's hop into current events for Lombard Trucking. What are you doing besides being a fitness coach? What are you doing in the logistics space now today?
So right now in the logistics space today, when I'm not doing Orange Theory stuff, I'm fully focused on this mission of changing the culture around health and fitness in the transportation industry. Essentially, since I came off the road. So at the same time I came off the road, I also for about 6 months was working as a driver recruiter as well. So I didn't completely detach from the industry. So I did work remote doing that, still like talking to drivers. But since I got off the road, I was not going to give up because I make content myself. I have a show, the Lombard Trucking Show, Instagram and TikTok, where I talk about being healthy, workouts, all that stuff while being an over-the-road driver. And so since I've gotten off the road, I've kind of been building my own brand, the Lombard brand of changing this. And essentially what's been happening is I still go to events. I was at the Mid-America Truck Show. I went to the Broker Carrier Summit. I was invited to the Broker Carrier Summit to be a speaker. In my local community, I gave a presentation to Hayes County bus drivers on why it's important. And I gave an entire presentation about the health stats of drivers and the risks that the job does. And I made an entire video of stretches they could do in seat, like a great educational presentation to Hayes County bus drivers that they were a fan of. So continuing to do events like that, especially volunteering to go and talk to these people. But at the same time, I knew I needed to level up in that aspect. I can only do so much myself with continuing to make content. So I knew I had to double down. And so what I've committed to now, while I was over the road, what some people might not know is during my 3 years over the road, I trained and I ran in 5 full marathons, one of which I actually hauled a load to. I took a load from Pryor, Oklahoma to Spokane, Washington, and ran in the Missoula Marathon in 2022. And I did that as an operator.
Bro, that's the best. I used to have a driver. I've had many of these cases where a driver would tell me, "Hey, I need a load to this location for this reason." But my favorite one, the one that I'll never forget, man. I came into work one day. It's like first thing in the morning, like 7 a.m. Central Time. I sit down, my phone rings. It's like one of my favorite drivers. And he's like, "Yo, bro, I got a request for you, man. I know it's a lot of work. Like, I'll slide you something under the table for your efforts, like give you some money on the side, you know," because he knew what he was about to ask me was insane. This guy, and I shit you not, wanted me to dispatch him according to I think the Miami Dolphins, some football team. He wanted me to dispatch him according to an NFL team's schedule. So he wanted to make it to every home and away game for the entire year. And I was like, "Yeah, that's pretty fucked up." Like, but yeah, it's funny that you hauled a load. You're like, "Hey, yeah, I just need a load to go out to Washington to run a marathon." Like, I love those stories, you know, where you guys can pick where you want to go. Like,
it's like, yeah, a little niche. That's like my calling card. Like I tell members at Orange Theory that, and they're like blown away. But and I'm still going to continue to run marathons and endurance events. And so it's like, what does every kid want to be when they grow up? You know, they all, you know, a lot of people want to be an athlete, professional athlete. And it's like, what does that look like? What does being a professional athlete like really look like? Is that going on a pro team? And it's like, it's all about finding that sport. And so essentially this year I made it a point. It's like, okay, if I'm really going to make a change, if I'm really going to make a dent in the freight and transportation industry and do this, like, there has to be a movement. Like, there has to be a movement. There has to be something to pop. And with all the connections I've made, and a lot of these connections had to do with being an owner operator and having a podcast and just continuing to have conversations with people and running a decent business.
Yeah, isn't the podcast thing just awesome? Like, it's not like a vanity thing. Like, you just get to talk. Like right now, like for this, for example, like I get like an hour of your time, and like that's awesome to me. Like, this podcast is the greatest, not even a networking tool. It's just cool to learn from people and talk to different people, bro. Like,
yeah, I'm not a CEO, but I've had the CEO of Trucker Tools on my show, and it's like, I would never outside of it, like, it's very rare you get to have conversations with just like CEOs or, you know,
crazy, like very successful, smart people, dude. Like, it's the podcast thing. It's worth every bit of effort you put into it. I mean, I would recommend it to everybody. Just the thing is, it's a lot more work than people really think it is. And honestly, I think Dooner said this long time ago, where he was like, the easiest part of running a podcast is like going live and actually doing the show. Like, the struggles come behind the scenes of all the other stuff that goes into it. But
oh yeah, absolutely right. And kind of moving forward from that, I made it. I knew that like it couldn't be just for me. You mentioned vanity, and it's like, we're doing these like great events, comes with, you know, clout and glory, or whatever you might want to call it. I don't want to do this for me. Like, I've made it known that this is my mission: change the culture of health and fitness. What do I do? Okay, I need to raise money for charity. Perfect. I'm connected with so many people with Wreaths Across America. Wreaths Across America checks off 2 boxes that are the most important. It's a trucking related charity, and it's a veteran related charity. I'm a U.S. military veteran. It's a trucking charity that specifically has to do with motor carriers. And so I reached out and I said, hey. And so me doubling down on myself, wanting to become a better athlete, and me wanting to make change, why not combine the two and put it together? I'm going to raise money for Wreaths Across America, partner with them, and I'm going to train for the hardest events out there, which are your Ironman triathlons, your 70.3, your 140 full triathlon distances. And that's basically where I'm at now. And through that, when you do something like that, when you're raising money for charity, it opens up the door again to work with other businesses who, you know, see this, hear this. Oh my God, former truck driver, veteran, running.
See, that's the thing. People kind of take it personal when people start getting, like you said, some clout or whatever, however you want to describe it to whatever generation is listening. Clout, vanity, some kind of a power, some kind of a figure. But I think what people don't realize, and what you just like kind of touched on, is you need that clout and that power and that awareness to bring it into good causes, right? Like, you have a mission, and if you didn't have the reach that you have, you wouldn't be able to accomplish the mission you want to accomplish. And I think, honestly, you have to chase clout sometimes. You have to go out and do things you don't really want to do to be more known, to accomplish the goals you want to accomplish. I mean, for me, like my personal goals are just like my heart will always be on the carrier side. I mean, I was a dispatcher 4 or 5 years. That's always where my heart's going to be. And even I got into brokerage thinking that I'm going to just be able to help more drivers, give more drivers better loads. And I mean, for me, it's always going to be to look out for the carriers. That's always my goal, right? And the bigger my reach gets, the more carriers I can, help out. And I mean, like you said, if you have a goal, you do need that bit of reach to accomplish it. Like you would be able to raise way more money being popular and, more known in the industry as you are than you would if you're just some guy off the street.
Yeah, you can't just go out and do it like standing on a soapbox. You need to build a network, and you need that attention. It's not that I'm actively out there being like, hey, pay attention to me, I'm doing this. But it's the same thing as running a business. Like, do you want your business to succeed? You could be a really great plumber, but you could be a really great plumber for a company. If you want to start a plumbing business, you're going to have to do more than just plumbing. People are going to have to, number one, recommend you. You're going to have to do a good service. And then you've got to go out and target. You've got to market. And it's the same thing with trying to raise money for charity or just people. Like anytime I bring up driver health and fitness, they're like, oh yeah, that job's really bad for you. But it's not in the forefront of their mind to get it.
Yeah, nobody thinks about that. Like nobody wakes up, gets out of bed, like, oh, truck drivers are unhealthy, bro.
Yeah, but if all of a sudden they start seeing other brands and companies come in on this, because the issue, I mean, the numbers are, the numbers themselves are epidemic level. They're horrible. I mean, it takes just running it down. The job will take 16 years off your life. When it comes to chronic disease like heart disease, diabetes, high blood pressure, it is double the U.S. working class population. So like 1/3 of the U.S. working class population is diabetic. 2/3 of just the trucking industry are. So, I mean, you're looking at numbers that are so horrible. I mean, the amount of people I've had conversations with, my dad had a stroke behind the wheel. One of my Orange Theory members the other day got a gentleman, his cousin recently passed away, stroke behind the wheel in their 50s. And it's like, those should be like big red flags that should have the alarms raised at everywhere. And if you're that's in motor carriers, I mean, like carriers themselves.
Let me ask you this then. Let me ask you this in like a simple terms. I know it's a very complex issue. It's a very ongoing issue. It's been there 200 years probably. But what do you think could be like, 1 or 2 drastic changes that would combat this fast? Like, you think government needs to step in? You think companies need to step in? What do you think needs to happen to wake the drivers up or to, offer them? How do we get truck drivers more healthy, and how do we do it quickly, in your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, it's there's no like one weird trick that'll do it. And just to touch on Sean, Sean. Me and Mark Manera we're
you guys better be boys at this point, bro. You guys on a mission out there, like.
Oh yeah, we work in tandem big time. But when it comes to like how can we do it, it's kind of like it starts with what I've kind of got going on now. So I've picked up a paid sponsorship with a large brand called Super Coffee. They're based in Austin. They're sold nationwide. You can get it on Amazon with the code Lombard20. Quick plug. But they're in Quick Trips. And so they want to, I talk with their chief marketing guy. They want to get their product in front of drivers because their product is a healthier option, lower calorie, no added sugar. They want to get, like he specifically told me, I hear you. I see your mission. We need to get our product in front of drivers. If we do this, we slow roll into this, it'll get more brands on. And I don't think it takes the government stepping in because we all
know that'd probably be a mess. Like, what would they even do? Like mandatory workouts for truck driver legislation? I mean, it's not possible, bro.
Outside of like the hours of service, I'm not sure what the government could necessarily regulate. But if you're able to get the market, and I think when I talk with the marketing guy from Super Coffee, if we can get the market, as in brands like Super Coffee or Poppy Soda, or the shirt I'm wearing, First Form, Athletic Greens, like you start to get their eyes on this and the spotlight on it, then there's a way to bully out these other brands of food and the option, because it's the options. Like when
That's what I was about to say to you. Like, if you asked me that question, like if you had asked me what should we do to get drivers healthy, and I mean, my mom was a bodybuilder. I grew up around gyms. I was an athlete at one point, and it's like 80%, 90% of it is just your diet, man. And I think we need to like get the truck stops to stop selling garbage bullshit food and like give drivers very healthy, like Mediterranean food, man, like shawarma, stuff like that. That's just rice and meat, man. That's really healthy, clean foods that you can make very quickly. They're delicious. I think drivers do need like that would be my opinion. That's the fastest, best possible answer. Like
it's right. The number one thing you can do for your health right now would be to reduce your caloric intake. You don't got to worry about anything else. So if you can cut the calories, that's what works. And it starts with just what you said, the options. And drivers, and we know if when you're over the road, and I know when you're over the road. Now, I fought tooth and nail. I grocery shopped at Walmart's. I had a food scale. I counted my macros. I was a little psychotic, but you can't demand every driver do that and expect it to work. You know, you can't just say, hey, go follow Lombard Trucking on Instagram and just do what he does. It's unrealistic.
And like, it's not even that. It's like, honestly, the general population in North America is not, I mean, just pretty much in the world, if you want to put it that way, the general population doesn't know really too much how to like even go to the gym. They don't really know what eating clean looks like. They don't understand like the general health rules of like being like a gym bro, you know, like you can't expect the general population to understand those things. Like,
yeah. So and I'm not saying force it, but if the market was to come in and then, because that's the thing, if a driver is only given the option, if a driver, number one, drivers have to park, period. So they have to park somewhere. They have to take a 10-hour break. Majority of time it's going to be at a rest stop or a truck stop. And if what's presented to them, if the option is only, you know, stuff that's going to serve them, by serve them as in it, you know, actually nourishes them and gives the body what it needs, you know. And I'm not saying that nobody should, you know, people need to give up pizza or never eat.
No. They just need to have the option to eat better, man. They don't have to remove anything. They just need to add options to the, like, you know, because I mean, man, we're all there. We're all guilty of it. I ate McDonald's the other day. I never eat McDonald's, bro. I wanted McDonald's. I ate it. Like, we all want to eat some shitty food sometimes. I'm not saying like take the rights away from anybody to eat bad food, but I'm saying you do need to add more. And you know what? It just hit me actually like a ton of bricks. You know what the government actually could do for truck drivers? I don't know how feasible this is and how large scale of a mission this would be. If you hold a CDL and you take the healthy option, you should get like a 20% discount. Like, you should save some money for eating the healthy option, you know? Like, because that'll save the healthcare system. That'll save drivers. Like that's actually not a bad idea if you think about it.
They're actually there. You could be working with something. Yeah. If you're able to get your, you know, if your DOT physical doesn't have any restrictions, you're healthy every 2 years, or yeah, you incentivize it. If you
should get some kind of a discount for eating healthier food at the truck stop with a CDL. That I'm gonna die on that hill, dude. Like,
incentives. I mean, that's human nature right there. They're going to respond to incentives. And I think if you incentivize it, plus allow the options to be out there, that's how you're going to chip away at this problem. But I mean, I'd say overall, if we're looking at like the number one thing, and this is how I started off the Broker Carrier Summit. So like that's one of the things we can do. But the number one reason why this health epidemic issue exists in the trucking industry is the number one reason why is because of education. So education is the reason why education is the reason why I didn't wake up this morning and smoke crack. I know it's probably not, I know it's definitely not good for me. I know it will lead to killing you, but you know, people are not educated on what, you know, a bad diet can do. And maybe they do know, but it's not presented away because what's
it's not presented in a scary enough way. Like when you said it, 2/3 of truck drivers have diabetes, like, you know, like the warning on like a cigarette box, like we need like more scary warnings for like your bad health. You know,
the reality, like that education needs to start coming from the top down. Like it needs to come from, like, it can't come from the bottom up, like the top down. Like if in the job description, if a motor carrier had in their job description, one of the bullet points, job will take 16 years off your life. if you don't do this. I mean, that's the reality. It's the truth.
That's the truth. Yeah.
And it's that's the thing. The truth in education, I think, needs once that becomes the top of the priority list, truth and education, that's when that wake up call starts happening. I mean, the wake up call I used to be in 2018 when I was working at that warehouse driving forklifts. Fall 2018, I was 278 pounds.
Yes, bro. I'm so happy you're the one that brought it up. I saw it recently. I wanted to ask you, when were you fat, bro? Because I'm pretty much the fattest I've ever been right now, too. And I saw that picture. I was like, "Yo, this guy used to be fat." I couldn't believe it, bro. That picture you posted, I was like, "It's not this guy, bro."
You
were fat for a minute there, bro. Like,
I was quite thick, dude. Working at Enterprise Rent a Car, and then being in the warehouse where it's like
you were like, bro, you didn't even look like you, bro. I couldn't even believe it. I was like, holy crap, dude. Like,
in 50 years, there's going to be a conspiracy whether I have like multiple body doubles. But yeah, I mean, it's like my wake up call was kind of my wake up call to starting to change my habits was I lost a friend of mine. Like I have a friend of mine who I was in the Marines with. He had passed away, and it gutted me. I was like, oh my God. And it's just that same gut check needs to happen in this industry where people are dying. People are dying every day. I mean, every day, just a broker carrier summit. I mean, a woman telling me about her father having a stroke behind the wheel. You know, one of the guys I train here at the gym, his cousin recently passing away in their 50s. Like that should be like that right there. There's the alarms again. Once again, it's like dying in their 50s, dude. We're in America. Like we're dying in our 50s, 2024. Like we need to be
happening. I mean, if you're dying before 65, that's the age of retirement, bro. Like in the first world countries, like the age of retirement, you shouldn't die before that, man. Like, also, I want to talk about this. Am I missing something here? Like belly flop tips? What's this about?
Oh yes, Sean. Oh yeah, I think I post it on LinkedIn. I'm not sure, but yes, recently, a couple weeks ago, I did win $350 at a belly flop contest,
right, like in a swimming pool.
Austin, yeah, in an above ground swimming pool at this bar in Austin.
What does that even mean, bro? Like you're just belly flopping, like.
Yeah, basically, I had like a couple outfits. Had the Speedo ready.
You got hurt the best. Like, that was the point of the contest? Like,
I mean, you'd be surprised. Some people who try to intentionally belly flop will not. Their fear will
pull them out of it. Yeah, that's true.
But I've got quite the technique, how to like a proper arch with the legs up. Oh, it's glorious. I got
on the topic of stupid things. I was told to ask you about Kegels and cameras being not turned on. I don't know what's going on with any of that. I also would like
Kegels.
I would like to know. What was that?
Who's asking about Kegels and cameras?
I don't know. Multiple people have said like you don't know how to turn your camera off or something. I don't know, bro. We can skip it. I don't know. I'm not involved in the situation. I'm just a messenger.
Wait, was this something that happened with Reed?
I think I don't know. I've seen it all over since I announced the show. If you don't want to talk about it, we can move on from it.
No, this is something. Yes,
I don't know what the situation is, bro. I was just told you don't know how to turn your camera off, and that's all I was told.
This is what's it called? Yeah, I think Sean, who's in the comments, he was saying stuff about like leave the camera on. I don't know.
I don't know. It's gone.
Sean, drop it in. Is that my camera? Did I have something? Did I not turn my camera off or something? Oh, wait a minute. I know. Oh yeah, last time I recorded with Reed, I forgot to stop the live feed, and I was and when before I stopped, I was like, I think the last thing I said was like, if shit hits the fan, I was basically about to say like, man, like if I was ever up Shit's Creek, I'd be calling to try to work at Truck Parking Club. And because I would. They're a great company, by the way. Shout out.
Yeah, I like them. I really like them.
Shout out to the boys over there. And Reed's just like, you're still alive. And I was like, oh shit. But I wasn't doing any Kegels on camera. Probably should have been though. There's great health tips out there.
Hey, you could get a lot of money for charity, man, if you go down. I can't say it with a straight face. All right, man. So you used to be a truck driver. Your family was all truck drivers. Used to go OTR. Your number one concern in life is to improve the health of truck drivers. Am I right in saying that?
You're right in saying it. And kind of to go like we talking future wise, if that's where you're going? Like I said, I mentioned.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. What is the next like 2 to 3 years, 5 years, kind of looking like for you?
Overall, so in my life, I mean, I'm not looking to just do these triathlons. I'm looking to be in the top of my age group. I'm looking to go to Kona one day. That's where my head is at. My mentality is there. I've kind of just, I'm a huge fan of the Rocky movies, and I don't want to just be, I don't think I'm just some bum from the neighborhood. I really think that I want to lead by example and show people that it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what your family did before, that if you put the hammer down, you can elevate wherever you want. I'm going to do that with triathlons by trying to get to Kona. But at the same time, we're talking business wise. So like, again, we're trying to work with more brands to get them in on this message. So trying to get more sponsors. I'd love to be an athlete for a company like First Form or like BPN, which will help this mission. But at the same time, the door's not shut on operating a motor carrier again, and running that business.
I would just advise you wait a couple more months, bro.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not getting anything soon.
Gonna go, dude. This is not the moment for that. Like,
or in a way, because I'd want to cash flow in other ways before I was to get trucks again. And I think through my athletic, I think through what I can do in athletics and with triathlons can help me cash flow into doing that. But at the same time, from a fitness consulting role, I mean, I work with, between the two studios, I coach, 1,000 people in all different types: new moms, pregnant women, older people brand new to exercise, marathon runners. So I'm coaching a large demographic of people in whatever their abilities are. So my experience is really growing. And I do believe that there is, and I think about this all the time, this is kind of just, and it's kind of on my little vision board of like, I would love the opportunity to go be a contractor for a motor carrier, drive for them for a month, couple of weeks, and pump out content for that carrier, where like either somebody, like I got like a one guy film crew with me, and I kind of just get the lifestyle. And I know that there's great drivers on TikTok who show their lifestyle, but really, like, from an educational standpoint,
from like a health point of view, like an instructional video, these guys are more so just showing you a day in the life. Like, these drivers need like some kind of like an actual educational person to be like, all right, guys, I'm OTR. I'm going from, Albany. I'm going down to Cleveland. This is what I'm doing on my stops. This is what I'm eating. This is what I'm buying. This is this. This is that. There isn't an educational type of health person. Because, I mean, yeah, like there's truck drivers showing you a day in their life, how they're playing PlayStation in their bed, where they put their shoes. But there's nobody tackling like a correct educational health approach to it, for sure.
Yeah, and make it something that this is going to be shown at orientation. Like this is a video that they present to their drivers at orientation. Yeah, and it's like, and that's that like no shit moment. Like, hey, see how this guy is? See how he was at a receiver for 3 hours? We know that you're going to deal with this. Because he was at a receiver for 3 hours. He just got in his 10,000 steps. He just got in a kettlebell workout. And you do it right next to your truck. It's just,
that's a really fucking good idea, man. Like, start it off with like a kind of like documentary style, like doom and gloom. Like, if you don't pay attention to your health, this is what's going to have like a shock kind of factor. And then just start showing clips of like how they can prevent all of that. I could get behind an idea like that, that's for sure.
Yeah. So that's why, like, the door will never be shut on like me getting behind the wheel, being able to do something like that. That's where I'd like to take it. But yeah, for now, we're looking at brands who want to jump on this mission. I want to continue to raise money for wreaths across America. We do have, we want to get wreaths on every veteran's grave. So, I mean, if anybody out there is listening, you can go to wreathsacrossamerica.org/Lombard. One wreath is $17. That's where I'm going. I would like to establish myself in the triathlete world. Continue to grind out if in that avenue. I'm going to continue to try to, grow the member base here at Orange Theory in Austin, grow the fitness community, and then still I'm keeping my podcast is going to go, keep having conversations with drivers about the other issues in the industry, like parking, like pay, all the other advocacy stuff, because all that's very important. I just believe firmly with the issues in the industry, like parking, like pay. I believe that a lot of those, and I described this on another show, is the number one cause for disease and sickness. It roots from inflammation. And so the industry we work in is currently very inflamed with a lot of issues. How do you fix inflammation? You know, it's based off of what you're eating, your exercise, your diet. And I believe that if drivers as a whole, if people in the freight industry as a whole, the healthier people get, and the healthier and I just speak for myself, the healthier I've gotten, the more I've been trying to give back, the more energy I've had to give and try to help and do more and help other people win. The same thing will happen, I believe, in this industry. If you can bring the inflammation of these drivers down and they start to get healthier, there's so much more likely to advocate for themselves, for the industry, instead of being enclosed and closed off. And that's just, it's a little philosophical, but
I mean, I think when your health is right and your money is right, then your mind is really clean. That's like where the peace of the mind kind of meets. Like when your money is okay and then your health is okay. I mean, I think that's where you get clarity in your life. I mean, I'm just speaking for me again personally too. I got to get my health in order, and maybe this was like the jump I needed to. I'm also very much. I used to be an athlete, man. I used to throw discus, played football. But I used to be a drain layer. I was doing like a physical job, and then I got into trucking, which is very like I just sit in this chair all day, bro. And I'm also slacking on my health. I know that, but maybe this was my wake up call. But
dude,
let's get into
tap in. Let's do it,
bro. Let's do it. Maybe I'll do the Dooner and go on a weight loss journey with everyone. I think I'm up to like 250 right now, but I'm 6'5", so it's like it's kind of okay. Like just a little bit fat. Yeah, I just want to get down to like 220, like a nice 220 again. I'll be chilling. But let's get into the like wrapping up stuff here, man. We've gone through all the serious stuff. We're getting to the 50-minute mark. I want to get with you quickly. So with this segment, I want to do this very quickly. I used to let it drag out. There's no point. What are your hobbies, I'm assuming, besides working out and training? I mean, what are your, like, you play video games? Like, what do you do? Fishing, something like that.
Yeah, hobbies outside of this. I mean, it sucks living in Texas, but when I was in the Marines, I picked up surfing, and I definitely enjoy all water things. That's why triathlons are appealing. I grew up a swimmer, but if we're talking video games,
you're an open water type of guy. You enjoy open water.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Shit scares
But I mean, other hobbies. I mean, like I got the podcast show, so like toying around with making content. But if we're really talking, I mean, you mentioned,
I'm saying like for fun, dude, like nothing work related. Like you go hunting, fishing, surfing, like fun, bro. You ever have fun? You have fun, bro.
I did. Well, training is fun.
Training is fun. Yeah, I get that.
But I will say, but you mentioned video games, and I will say, like, I've had a couple days where I've been able to do it this year. And I really savored those moments of getting to play video games. And I don't play really anything new, but to be able to sit down and like run through Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 10, or run through some of those older games. Final Fantasy 9 is a big one. I mean, I'd say a lot of those games are like built a lot of my personality, just like those storylines.
Yeah. I'm a huge video game guy, dude. I was a World of Warcraft guy. I was a huge Halo 3 guy. I honestly, to be like dead honest with you, I fell out of video games over the past like 3 months when I started this podcast. This podcast replaced what video games used to do for me, and I put all my effort and time into editing now. And I used to I love editing anyway, so like I'm kind of on your side. Like I don't really have any hobbies anymore either. Like I'm just kind of enjoying in my work. So I feel you there. But yeah, video games do a huge role in my life. Saved my life, probably kept me out of trouble for sure when I was younger. So
yeah, they definitely kept me. They definitely kept me on a straightened path. But yeah, the hobbies kind of dwindle away. Yeah, the podcast really, like, I'm not gonna lie, like just
they dwindle away, man. You got your main job, your second job, they're probably your passion job, you know. That's kind of just being an adult, man. I'm starting to understand it. But all right, man, let's get into sports. You watch any type of sports, anything?
Yeah, I mean, hey, I wouldn't get I did get to do this, but I mean, I am a big Steeler fan. Definitely Pittsburgh Steelers, baby. So I love the Steelers, and I never specifically asked to get routed to a game, but I was able to go to a Steelers game on a reset. I parked at a Sam's Club, parked at a Sam's Club in Pittsburgh. I was able to go to a Steeler game. So I do like the Steelers. I do love watching hockey. I don't necessarily have a team because I'm from Connecticut. My team growing up was the Hartford Whalers, and they don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
So I kind of just am a hockey enjoyer, huge UConn basketball guy. I'm from Connecticut. It's all we got. So, and I know that they've been doing very well, you know, back-to-back.
You're a general sports enjoyer. You enjoy some sports, like.
Oh yeah, yeah, without a doubt. I mean, Austin's got the MLS team here. Those games are electric.
Dude. Copa America's in America, and I swear to God, nobody on LinkedIn was talking about it. I couldn't believe it. Like, the Copa America took place in various American states, and nobody cares. That kind of blew me away. But
yeah, I don't know why. Yeah, I mean, the bars were packed in Austin for Copa America. Everybody was going bonkers for it.
I love soccer. That's my favorite sport for sure.
Soccer is
music. Let's go music, man. Oh, let's go soccer.
I was saying soccer is fun. If I made a joke the other day, when Albania was playing Italy, I called it it's the Battle of Waterbury, Connecticut. And if anybody's from Waterbury, they would know why. But you were going on saying music.
Music, man, music. What are you, rap guy, country guy? I would guess rock and roll of some type of older type of rock and roll.
I mean, it's crazy, and I know my boy Paul from Cents Per Mile. He's been asking me for these photos, but I'm definitely. I mean, I'm big into hardcore stuff. Like, yeah, like to, you know, some screamo. I played in a band in high school that played like, you know, pop punk, indie stuff. Like, we're talking Under Oath. I mean, my wedding song was A Day to Remember. So like stuff like that is good, but at the same time, like, definitely a huge hip hop guy, huge T.I. fan. Shout out all the F3 guys, like love like T.I. Love, you know.
No, why I was just talking about T.I.
fan, big fan of Nas. hate me now.
So you're kind of all over the place with the music. You're not a one genre type of guy.
Oh yeah, no, I can go to a country music fest one day, and then I'll go see what's it called, Knocked Loose the next day. Yeah, you can't pin a dart on me.
Can't put baby in a corner, however that saying goes. That's before my time a little bit. But all right, man, let's get into a craziest logistics story. I would assume craziest story from behind the wheel for you might be the most interesting situation.
When I think about like crazy stories from behind the wheel, I mean, I've had some like heated, you know, I've tried to get detention before. And those were, you know, detention from receivers, but like I got the
I feel like that's probably not the craziest story unless it led into like something insane. But
yeah, I got the knock a few times from some lot lizards. One in West Virginia, Petro in Oklahoma City. Hey, can I use your phone charger? And it's like, and those were always funny. But I did one time. I was on a run in Oklahoma, and this was the only time. And what's crazy is this is the only time I was actually scared. I'll never forget. I was brand new over the road. I stopped at the Petro in Gary, Indiana. I know, laugh now. And I was doing a kettlebell.
Gary, Indiana is the best start to a crazy story, man.
Oh, yeah.
I love that. That's a perfect start. Like.
And I was doing a kettlebell workout, and like they had this 24-hour roaming security, and I was like, what's this guy doing? And like the parking lot was well lit, and you know, and then at the end of the workout, that's when I started to hear like the gunfire, and I was like, dang, this is a tough town. But I was on a run in Oklahoma.
So just shots fired, bro. Like just shots fired.
You just hear the gunshots going around. But I was on a run, and this guy was following me in his truck. And I was, you know, and classic me, if you see my TikTok videos, I was wearing like my weighted vest, but I had like a reflector, like I had like a safety vest on and like my water. And I was literally just jogging. And this guy followed me. And it was because I was just like running on a sidewalk in this neighborhood. And the neighborhood was right across the street from a Love's. This dude he followed me, rolls his window down. He comes next to me. I was like, hey, what's up? And he's just like, what are you doing? I was like, going for a jog. I was like, my truck's parked right at the Love's across the street. And he was just like, what would you do if I was running around your neighborhood? And I was like, nothing. And he's just like,
bro, like, what the fuck do you mean?
He's just like, well, I look after my community, and I just know that if I was in your community, we'd probably have a problem. And I was just like, I don't really know about that. And I was like, I'm Italian.
I wouldn't even think about that shit, bro. Somebody was jogging around my neighborhood, bro. Good for them. I would think how lazy I am to not be joining them on that jog is what I would fucking think.
Yeah, but I mean, there's always some. I mean, I was at I forget if I was in Indiana or Ohio, but there was a driver who was, I remember because the cops came to the parking lot and they were trying to force this guy out of his truck because he like rage quit. And so like, I guess he rage quit, but he wouldn't leave the truck. This is what the Love's employees were telling me.
This guy rage quit being a truck driver, but needed a place to live and just lived in the fucking truck, dude.
Yeah, just lived in it. And like, cause there was like 6 cop cars there. I was like, what's happening? And the Love's mechanics just like, guy won't get out of the truck. They're like, I guess he quit, but like, he's not leaving. And like 6 cop cars were there. They had to like force the guy out.
Yeah, we'll end on that one, bro. That's pretty fucking insane, if you ask me. Rage quitting but needing a place to live. Fuck.
Yeah, the owner drive down. Like it was this whole mess.
But all right, man, we got to get into the last, actually second last question here. I gave you a little heads up because we had an issue with this one very recently. What is your favorite joke?
All right, this one's kind of corny, but you guys can take this one for your next summer party.
I'm going to start saying it this is up to your discretion. You could skip the question. I'm not forcing anybody to answer this question. I really.
It's very lighthearted, quite a dad joke.
All right.
So if you're an American and you go into the bathroom and then you come out of the bathroom and you're still American, what were you in the bathroom?
Oh, okay. So this is a different. I didn't hear this one then. Okay, actually, I don't know.
Do you want me to repeat it?
So if I go in the bathroom American and I come out of the bathroom American, what was I while I was peeing?
While you were in the bathroom.
Is it European? Is that the
European?
Joke? Oh, so it is that joke. Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, that's not fuck that joke, but I mean it's okay. Yeah, that's your joke. That's fine. I've just heard it before.
What did the fish say when he swam into the wall?
Okay, that one I don't know.
Damn.
Fuck this shit. Okay, that's good. Yeah, I like that one. That's good. That's a good joke, bro. I'll give you that. All right, man. We're heading into, is it? It is, because we don't have the quiz show. This is the absolute final segment. The segment that everybody's been waiting for, whoever's still here. It's Chicken Wing Choices, sponsored by Fair Trade Workforce founder Vince Gonzalez, offering staffing solutions overseas at recession-proof rates. So, Mr. Lombard Trucking, are you ready for the chicken wing choices?
Let's do it.
Regarding chicken wings, do you eat drums or flats?
Flats.
Flats. Ranch or blue cheese?
Ranch. Breaded
or non-breaded?
Breaded.
All right. If you said non-breaded, you were about to go 0 for 3. So you redeemed yourself right at the end with 1 correct answer. So that's cool. But all right, man. Hey, I appreciate your time. Any closing thoughts? Any closing messages? I mean, yeah, let's get drivers healthy. I can get behind that. If you need any help with any of that shit, let me know. I got to get myself healthy too. This might be my wake-up call for that.
Number 1, yeah, I'm going to DM you on the side because I can definitely help you out if you're looking to make a change. And for anybody who's making a change, any driver out there who listens to the show, they can always shoot me a message as well. Again, I do work as an advisor on the First Form Health and Fitness app, which tracks your macros, and I can always give you some one-on-one or any advice you need. Number 2, really appreciate you having me on. Glad to call you a friend. I appreciate this invite.
Yeah, I'm so happy to meet you finally, man. I've seen you around. We never, literally never interacted with each other for the most part, so this has been cool.
Yeah, no, it's been great. I can't appreciate it enough. You know, anybody who's willing to have a conversation with me and let me talk about this story and this mission, you know, whether they're, you know, abroad, wherever you may be, no matter, you know, this industry works far and wide. So, I mean, getting the message out there is really important. And just know that, I mean, it's not going to stop. So, I mean, if you want to jump on board, if you enjoyed what I had to say, or you agree with what I have to say, drop me a line. If there's any way we can work together, whether you're a company, because like I said, I'm trying to talk to companies. There's a lot of nutrition I need for these events. There's triathlon suits. There's plenty of ways I can help market, you know, other companies and freight. And if you want to help join in on this mission, you know, you can email me at mike@lombardtrucking.com.
Hey, man, I'm going to see if Ben wants to slap that Hammer Logistics logo on your back, bro. That'd be fucking hilarious. I would love to see that. We sponsored some golf tournament recently. That was awesome. So.
Exactly. So in any way people want to be involved, again, if you want to donate to Wreaths Across America, wreathsacrossamerica.org/Lombard. And hey, drink Super Coffee. It is the better option for you. has no added sugar. You can order Super Coffee on Amazon. Use the discount code Lombard20. Really helps me out.
Discount code Lombard20 for coffee, for healthier, better coffee. Probably tastes better too.
Oh, it's good. You know, that Starbucks Frappuccino is criminal in the added sugar. But
yeah,
man,
$9 for a piece of shit coffee, man.
Exactly. But I
on
can't
that bombshell, Mr. Lombard, thank you for coming by. Keep in touch, and we'll definitely be seeing each other around, man.
Oh yeah, likewise. You got to come back on my show. We're gonna run it back.
Orange Theory out, bro. Peace, bro. That's episode 23. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and have a great weekend.